On September 17, 1925, the capital of Mexico was gloomy and rainy. Frida Kahlo, a 19-year-old student, was returning home from school with her boyfriend Alejandro. They hopped on a crowded bus as it sped through the streets, and watched as the driver tried to overtake a passing tram. But the race caused a collision. The tram crashed into the bus and several people died instantly. Alejandro was not seriously injured, but Frida was not doing well at all. An iron handrail had impaled her through her pelvis. At the hospital, they found that her injuries were far worse. Her spine was shattered in 3 places. Her right leg had 11 fractures and many other complications. The doctors warned the family that Frida might never get out of her wheelchair. If someone had told them at that moment that one day this girl would exhibit her paintings in America and Europe, they would have thought they were delusional. But that is what awaits her in the years to come. Frida Kahlo was born on July 6, 1907 in Coyoacán, a small Mexican village on the outskirts of the capital. In 1922, she entered an elite school to prepare her for her future career as a doctor. Her studies went well. She spent her free time with friends in political debates and discussing philosophy or Russian literature. All indications were that she had a great life ahead of her. But after the accident, her plans came crashing down. Her boyfriend Alejandro leaves for Europe, and Frida spends several months alone, bedridden in a plaster cast. To give her a new purpose, her father gives her oil paints, and her mother gets her an adapted easel so she can paint lying down. Frida then attaches a mirror above the canvas. This is how the first of her self-portraits is created. Thanks to her tenacious nature, Frida eventually starts walking again, but due to health limitations, she has to give up her dream career. Nevertheless, she leads an active life and even joins the Communist Party. The reason is simple. Frida's youth was largely influenced by the Mexican Revolution, which began in 1910 as a revolt against the dictatorship. Marxism was therefore seen as an appropriate political starting point. Moreover, during one of many political party gatherings, Frida meets Diego Rivera. He was a successful artist, whose paintings were displayed in many important buildings. Frida charms him with her personality, intelligence, but also with her work. Rivera immediately knows that he is looking at something unique. Frida's paintings teem with colors like the Mexican culture itself. She mixes reality and poignant motifs with naive and modern styles. Frida soon becomes Rivera's wife. There is a 20-year age difference between them, and people refer to them as the elephant and the dove, but they don't mind. They love each other, inspire each other, and support each other in their work. Yet their artistic marriage is far from ideal. They argue, and infidelity has become a regular occurrence in their marriage. Rivera has affairs with models he paints during the day, and Frida doesn't hold back either. Over the years, she had a series of affairs with men and women. In 1930, Rivera receives a job offer in San Francisco, and the couple moves to the United States. Frida experiences her first success there, and manages to exhibit a painting of her wedding. She also creates more surrealist paintings. For example, her portrait of the botanist Luther Burbank, which depicts him as half man, half tree. The couple remained married for the following months. They traveled to New York and lived in Detroit for some time. It is there, however, that things begin to fall apart for Frida. She misses her Mexican home, and to make matters worse, she suffers a miscarriage. She copes with the horrible experience in her own way. In 1933, Frida finally convinces Rivera that it's time to move back to Mexico, so they buy a house in the San Angel area. Or rather, 2 houses. Frida's is painted blue, Rivera's pink and white. The two houses are connected by a bridge. The marriage is becoming strained, and they are each dealing with their own problems. Frida has medical issues, and they have to amputate her toes because of gangrene. Rivera has a personality crisis. He is not happy in Mexico and blames his wife. But he causes her even more misery when he gets together with her sister Cristina. Although Frida is also far from a saint, the betrayal of the two people she loves most deeply affects her and she moves away. For the first time in her life, she has to rely on herself. But in order to make a living from painting, she has to rethink her style. Small postcard-sized formats alternate with larger canvases, and she mostly opts for less brutal subjects. Frida eventually forgives Rivera, and between 1937 and 1939, they host the Russian émigré Trotsky, one of the leaders of the Communist Revolution in 1917, who had to flee from Stalin to Mexico. He took his wife with him, but this did not stop him from having an affair with Frida. Meanwhile, she also meets the prominent French surrealist André Breton, who helps her set up her first exhibition on her own, right in Manhattan. New Yorkers admire Frida's paintings and her style, especially her colorful folklore clothing and distinctive jewelry. Finally, she's starting to be talked about, not only in America, but in Europe as well. Although her exhibition in Paris is not very successful because of World War II, the world-renowned Louvre Museum buys her painting, The Frame. When she returns home from France, an unpleasant surprise awaits her. Rivera has filed for divorce, but Frida transforms her pain into more impressive paintings. The most creative period in her life begins, during which the self-portrait with cropped hair is created, as well as the self-portrait with thorn necklace and hummingbird, and the two Fridas. She continues to struggle with spinal problems. Although the surgery in San Francisco does not bring her relief, she is reunited with Rivera in America and remarries him after only a year apart. But nothing changes. They continue to cheat on each other, and Frida still suffers from pain. The corsets don't help either. Her paintings become more depressing. They exude misery and uneasiness. Frida is running out of strength. But before her time is up, one more great achievement awaits her. In April 1953, she has her first solo exhibition in her native country. At last, she is accepted as a real artist in Mexico, not just as the wife of the famous Diego Rivera. For Frida, the exhibition is of great importance, but she has been ordered bed rest. But Frida seems to suspect that she will not live to see her next exhibition. She therefore disobeys the order and has herself transported to the gallery on her bed. She dies a year later in the same bed, in the same blue house in the suburbs where she was born 47 years ago. The last entry in her diary reads as follows: "I hope the exit is joyful and I hope never to return." At the time, she could not have known that she would return, at least symbolically, a quarter of a century later as an icon of feminism and the gay community. And most importantly, that her portraits would one day be known to all.